Welcome to this premium executive briefing explainer. You know, for the last few years, artificial intelligence has been massively rewarded for just sounding right. It could write, it could summarize, it could brainstorm, literally almost anything. But there was always this one lingering problem. Sometimes it was wrong, and not obviously wrong, but confidently wrong. And in the business world, being confidently wrong is infinitely more dangerous than just saying, hey, I don't know. Because serious business doesn't run on confident answers. It runs on defensible evidence, on trust, and on traceability. The first era of AI was about getting an answer. The next era is about proving it. That right there completely captures the exact shift we're living through right now. Think about it. Those early chatbots felt absolutely magical, mostly because they just responded instantly. They made this vast intelligence feel like it was right at your fingertips. But we are moving way past that phase now. We're transitioning from the era of simply getting an answer straight into the era of proving that answer.
So, to really wrap our heads around why this shift is happening, we kind of have to rethink how we view AI errors. When we talk about an AI hallucination, we usually just picture the AI making things up out of thin air. But the actual danger, it's a critical trust problem. Hallucination is what happens when an AI produces language with significantly more confidence than evidence. The scary part is that the AI can be entirely wrong, but it delivers that wrong information in a voice that sounds so polished and professional. It's literally like discovering a totally fabricated source in your desk research, or finding a fake statistic right smack in the middle of a make-or-break market report.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Today's agenda is a step-by-step framework to transition you from being a passive consumer of AI outputs into a truly active auditor. We're going to cover 1. The answer machine, 2. The argument map, 3. The verified truth stack, 4. Verification theater, and finally, 5. Traceable decisions.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the answer machine.
So, early chatbots changed the world by compressing research, right? But the answer always arrived first. The proof came later, well, if it came at all. That fundamental weakness was hidden behind these perfectly polished linear paragraphs. Now, a casual user might accept that, but business leaders, researchers, lawyers, analysts, they absolutely cannot. You can't base a multi-million-dollar strategy on a polished paragraph. You need the evidence machine. You need to know the specific claim, the structured evidence supporting it, and crucially, what actually contradicts it.
Moving right along to Section 2, the argument map.
To really get this, we've got to shift our focus from reading linear paragraphs to looking at visual reasoning. Imagine you're doing some deep market research. Normally, a standard chatbot just spits out a single, highly confident sentence like, customers prefer speed over cost. And usually that's it. That's where the interaction ends. You take that top-level claim, you drop it into your deck, and you move on. But an evidence machine, it doesn't just give you a static response, it actively builds an argument.
An evidence machine takes that top claim and breaks it right down into subclaims. It actually shows us that, hey, it's specifically the mid-market segment that prefers speed, and the evidence attached to it didn't just materialize out of thin air. It was pulled directly from Q3 surveys and recent CRM notes. We are essentially seeing the underlying architecture of the answer.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Right alongside the evidence, the system actually has to present the contradictions. It tells us that enterprise clients, on the other hand, actively prioritize cost, which directly challenges our original top claim depending on the company's size. It also flags that the confidence level here is only directional, not an absolute certainty. In serious work, real insight isn't just what the AI says, it's what the AI can actually defend.
Which brings us to Section 3, the verified truth stack.
So how do we practically pull this off?
Well, this stack right here is your ultimate step-by-step framework for seriously auditing AI. Think of it as the true architecture of AI trust. It's built on 5 distinct layers: claim decomposition, evidence grounding, contradiction detection, reasoning structure, and finally, human judgment. Let's break these down real quick so you can actually use them in your next audit.
Okay, layer 1 is claim decomposition. We have to force the AI to rip apart its own polished synthesis and break every single answer into atomic, individual claims. Then comes layer 2, evidence grounding. Every single one of those atomic claims absolutely must be attached to a reliable source, a specific document, a hard data point, or an observed signal. Absolutely no floating facts allowed.
Then we go even deeper. Layer 3 is contradiction detection. The AI essentially has to play devil's advocate against itself. It must actively go out and retrieve external evidence that weakens or challenges its own answer. Following that is layer 4, the reasoning structure. This is where the AI maps out exactly how those atomic claims actually connect back to the evidence and ultimately to the final conclusions. It's literally showing its work, step by step.
And finally, we hit layer 5, human judgment. And this is where you come in. Look, AI systems are getting unbelievably good at producing structure, mapping out reasoning paths, and comparing sources. But humans, we still judge meaning. The AI can find the contradictions all day long. But you, the human expert, you have to decide the actual risk. The future isn't about AI replacing human judgment at all. It's about AI exposing way more of what your judgment actually needs to examine. The very best professionals going forward won't just ask better prompts, they're going to ask much better verification questions.
All right, moving into section 4, verification theater.
Now we really need to talk about the trap here. As the AI companies absolutely scramble to make their tools look trustworthy, we are going to see a massive rise in fake verification. The next risk is not just hallucination, it is hallucination with footnotes. Think about an AI that confidently hands you a clickable citation, right? But when you actually click it, it's just a dead link. Or maybe it points to a blog post that ironically argues the exact opposite point of what the AI just claimed. That is verification theater. The next massive risk in business isn't just hallucination, it's hallucination dressed up in a really nice suit with fake footnotes. So to avoid falling for that, you need an active audit checklist. When you're handed an AI explanation, just rattle off these rapid-fire questions. Does this specific source actually support the claim? Is the evidence genuinely current? Are contradictions actively included in the summary? And finally, could an actual expert reproduce and audit this answer? If the answer to any of those is no, well, you're just watching theater.
And that brings us to our final section, section 5, traceable decisions.
This whole shift we've been talking about, it fundamentally transforms the future of serious work. The next generation of AI tools aren't just going to generate content for you, they are going to build totally defensible decision records. For example, if you're generating a market report, the standard for verification is going to be claim-level evidence. A strategy deck will require all of its assumptions to be verified and clearly mapped out. A legal memo won't just need a list of precedents, it will demand active contradiction mapping. The AI is going to show you exactly what options were rejected, what trade-offs were considered, and precisely which human actually approved the final decision. Just getting a faster output is no longer the goal here. Traceable, defensible decisions are. You know, for years, the main question we asked was just, can AI answer this? But now the infinitely better question is, can AI prove this? The future fully belongs to the systems that can reason clearly, openly expose their own uncertainty, and actively invite human judgment. In this next era, truth is no longer going to be a simple paragraph, it's going to be a verifiable structure. So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative challenge. Before you fire up an AI for your very next serious business decision, stop for a second and ask yourself, what would I actually need to see before I believe this? Keep that exact question front and center, and you are going to navigate this new landscape perfectly.